Make some noise. Hadithi, Hadithi.
Oh, great. You know, the next speaker is a citizen of Africa. She was born in Zambia, and she has many stories about her childhood. Upon arriving in South Africa in the 60s, and I think when you meet her, you understand that it might be an interesting one to arrive in South Africa in the 60s as a child, given our history. And so, to honor her, I want my Zambian Connect. Please help me welcome Shirley. Shirley, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Let me set the scene. It's the 50s. Elvis Presley is changing the world with rock and roll music. He's also shocking the world with his gyrating hips and causing serious debates in churches. At the same time, we have Marilyn Monroe with her curvaceous, voluptuous body and blonde hair. The other end of the spectrum, we have Twiggy. The name says it all. No curves. No hair. Big eyes and attitude. The sad part is we have the US with a raging war in Vietnam. And we have a group of people in America that stand up and protest against this war. And their mantra is, make love, not war. The hippies. And they were very vocal about it. Some of them went to jail for not going to war. And this was a wonderful era to be born in. I was born in that era. And I still love that era because it gives you the freedom to be. Okay. My mom and dad met in then Northern Rhodesia on the Copperbelt, now known as Zambia, in the town of Chingola. They married and I was born. Because my dad was a miner, he learned to speak Swahili very well, my mom as well. English and Swahili were the spoken languages. Then my dad was transferred to Kenya, my brother George was born, and we lived on the Serengeti Plains. It was like the Garden of Eden. Then the migration is 12 months of the year. It's not just a certain period of the year. Then my dad was transferred to Uganda. And in all of this, we saw Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kenya, and a beautiful country, Uganda. There the idyllic life carried on, and everybody was happy. And then I think the world's most famous psychopath, Idi Amin, became president of Uganda. I doubt he was elected as president. I think he became president. It was also the uprising of the Mau Mau. And my parents decided that the homing pigeons need to go south. So they packed up the Land Rover with the United Nations family, and we started the long trek to South Africa. I don't recall how long it took. It took about a week or two to get here, and we crossed into South Africa at Beitbridge. But we still carried on south into the town of Pretoria. We settled there. I had to go to school. There was no English school. To get me to an English school, I'm in grade 1. I have to get on a bus, go to the station, get on a train. When the train stops, get on a bus, go to the English school, grade 1. But the Afrikaans school was right around the corner. So they tested me, and I was enrolled because I'm a smart kid. The preferred language in grade 1 was an 18-inch wooden ruler. If you weren't standing in line, you got whacked behind the knees. If you were talking when the teacher was talking, you got whacked over the hands. But I was smart. When that bell rang, I ran for home. Twice a day, there was a knock at my mom's door at home, and it was me. My mom was having a hard time trying to keep me in school. And she also didn't have a support system in Pretoria. So the decision was made, they have to move closer to an English school. And my mom needed a support system. So we moved to Vanderbijl Park, where my grandparents live, my mom's parents. And we lived on a small holding, about 25 k's out of town. So guess what? Again, there's no school close by for the little English girl. There's only an Afrikaans primary school. But yay, there's a school bus every morning and every afternoon filled with Afrikaans high school kids. So I'm very excited and I'm going to make friends and everything is going to be cool. So the first day I get onto the bus, I run into a replay of the Boer War. They taught me words I never knew existed. I used to go home and say, Mommy, what does Rooinek mean? And that means redneck. But what's the connotation of redneck? That's the type of things that happened to me. Then Auntie Mary decided, tiny little blonde lady, she has to protect the English children, because we were the only English family. So she made us sit right behind her in the bus, so she could check us in the rearview mirror. And we'd often get into the bus, the rearview mirror would be turned up. And only once she's driving and we've been bullied, she'd realize her mirror is not turned down, she can't keep an eye on us. So primary school was a bit of a challenge. We became very strong. We learned to speak Afrikaans very quickly. We overcame them in their own language. That surprised them. But nature was the biggest surprise of all, because we were 3 girls and 1 boy. And the surprise was puberty. We changed from little English girls to exotic young ladies. And I tell you, history has no chance against the hormones of puberty. Imagine if you're a high school boy and you can visit one house and have the pick of 3. I thought we were gorgeous. You can have the pick of 3. I mean, they could fight over you if you were there alone. So that is how we got to know the Afrikaans language, the Afrikaans culture, how they work, how they don't work. I mean, we were white South Africans, they were white South Africans, but we were so different. But we did everything together. We swam in the dams together, we swam in the rivers together, we rode horse together. And you know what? Weekends we partied. And we danced to rock and roll music. Thank you, Lazola.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sell it forward, everyone. Sell it forward. Thank you very much. Sensational experience.
Make some noise. Hadithi, Hadithi.